Not a week goes by where you don't hear the news of another law enforcement officer or potentially serviceman that's killed in the line of duty. And we really owe them a debt of gratitude, one that can't be repaid. And I think the best way to do it is to step up to the plate and help their children.
I do not know you, but I am your brother.
You do not know me, but I am your protector.
I will run into a burning building to save your life.
Though I do not know your name, I will take a bullet for you.
Though we've never met,
I believe in duty
and sacrifice of self.
Your family is my family.
Is my family. Your life is my duty.
What's going on, guys? Time for another episode of Behind the Uniforms. I'm super excited to have this gentleman here who is doing some unbelievable work in the law enforcement community. Instead of me introducing him, why don't you just tell everybody who you are?
Oh, thank you. My name is Jeff Epstein, and I'm founder and president of Healing the Wounds, which is an organization that was just launched to mentor the forgotten children of our nation's fallen heroes in both law enforcement and the military.
So why don't we start with the why? Why do you do what you do? Tell me about the organization, why you got into it, what support you provide.
I would say basically just thinking about what's happened and how every week, in fact, Kyle, not a week goes by where you don't hear the news of another law enforcement officer or potentially serviceman that's killed in the line of duty. And we really owe them a debt of gratitude, one that can't be repaid. And I think the best way to do it is to step up to the plate and help their children and mentor them, support them in every fashion we possibly can.
He really struck a chord that was near and dear to us. We had a young lady who we wrote an article on a few weeks ago who she takes the uniforms of fallen police officers and she turns them into teddy bears for their kids. And you're right, it really is sort of a forgotten demographic. We work with the 100 Club out here in Connecticut. There's so many organizations that support them, but so quietly. And what you guys are doing is very powerful. Talk everyone through sort of the process and exactly what you guys do.
I want to go back for 1 second and just say that I don't think most people can relate to the pain and the suffering that these kids have to endure. And some of them have never even met that parent that was lost in the line of service. And it all starts, as you know, with an unexpected knock on the door. And from that point forward, the security that's so vital to that child's upbringing and their emotional health has been shattered forever. And that parent, be it a mom or a father, is not coming home. They might have left that morning. They might have left deployed 6 months earlier, but they're not coming home. So there goes the birthdays, the Christmas morning celebrations, every holiday celebration. It's forever changed. No more quiet times on the couch. And while they're dealing with that on a personal level, they also have to bear witness to the impact that it's having on the surviving parent, who's even put in a more precarious situation. So we looked at it and said, we want to do something to help these kids. And these teenagers that will be involved with our program, sure, we're going to start off with a week or so in the Alaskan wilderness under the direction of some incredibly gifted, experienced professionals that know how to deal in these situations. They've been up there for years. They'll be introduced to a dozen. Well, what's interesting is it's not just the wilderness experience where they're going to be introduced to marine life and wildlife and natural settings, but they're going to come home with things that beyond the experience of the activities. They're going to come home with CPR and first aid training and certification. They're going to come home with an idea of what it means as far as coastal seamanship is concerned, safe boating practices. Boating safety, of course, we're going to emphasize because we know how many people are lost in boating accidents. But we're also going to expose them to a dozen or so disciplines and different career opportunities. So that, and we're going to continue 365 days a year.
You could never replace their lost mother or father. But what you guys are effectively doing here is creating a support system and structure. And, you talk a lot about the services that you guys are offering here, but the other thing that you didn't touch on is the fact that they're surrounded by other kids who have experienced the same thing and who can sort of, to a degree, understand what they've gone through. And I'd imagine that that's something that's really difficult to go through everyday life without having people who share those experiences.
And the other thing is, here's an opportunity to network them with their peers.
Sure.
So we'll be networking them with others and also continuing the networking relationships with those who step up to the plate to mentor them, which is extremely important. But like I said, the call-in center, the webinars, the tutorials, whatever we can do to help create the next generation of responsible citizens, that's all in the mix.
Jeff, I want to go back to the why for a second. There are 1,000,001 things that you could do in service to your country and have done. Why did you decide this path?
Kyle, I spent over 32 years on the ground in Alaska as a hobby business to clear my mind of other things that were pretty dark. And I took a lot of families out with children, teenagers, and exposed them to things that were so awe-inspiring that they could not get over them. And that's all they kept talking about, is going back. And every time that I'm in their company, even to this point, and I hear from them, they're still talking about what they experienced up there, because there's nothing like it. It's the natural world. We've got some incredible people on our advisory board of directors, of course, as well. We've got the generals, and we've got colonels, and we've got police chiefs. Acting Police Chief James Craig from Detroit came aboard early on. General McInerney came aboard. He was in charge of the Alaska Air Command. General Jerry Boykin, founding member of Delta Force, came on board. But also Michael Hawk. And Captain Michael Hawk recently had a show on the Discovery Channel with his wife called Man, Woman, Wild. Michael is so enthusiastic about this program because he wants to, not only does he want to design the program, because we're going to introduce him to basic wilderness survival training, fire starting, shelter building, securing water and food and things of that nature. We're doing that to build confidence and leadership skills. He wants to be on the ground up there, and he wants to have a hands-on approach to this. Same goes for 3 professors from the University of Alaska, Fairbanks. 2 PhDs recently retired, but still actively employed, and a third that's still active with the university. Their backgrounds: oceanography, marine sciences, and food chemistry and things of that nature. They're going to be involved.
That's wild.
So I did this because I felt, looking back, it was kind of the culmination of everything that I'd done over the years. From a business perspective to, like I said, nurturing people in the wilderness and exposing them to these incredible activities, sites, photography, all kinds of things, to also helping children wherever I could. So that's why I moved in this direction.
What can people do to help?
They can sign up and become members, and they can also sign up and help us by sponsoring this organization. We just, it's just a week and a half ago that we launched, and there's some unique benefits to membership. We also have a memorial wall that we put together. It's a virtual wall. As you sign up, you could dedicate a brick to a family member that served in the armed forces or in law enforcement. And if they were killed in action, of course, a star will be inscribed next to their name. So those are some of the things that we put together.
What do you want people to take away from today's interview?
I think the most important thing is we want people to visit our site. It's healingthewounds.org. Once again, it's healingthewounds.org. But here's an opportunity to step up to the plate and actively become engaged and help these children that really need their support, because we're in a situation right now where people are so tied to technology, as you know it. Wouldn't it be great to have these teenagers put their cell phones down, walk away from their the electronic world, and try and awaken them to what they're missing. Because there's more important things than walking around with that cell phone and constantly texting somebody.
Well, I mean, listen, look back to when you were a kid. When I was a kid, right? You went and you played outside. You hung out with your friends. You got really
Right.
dirty. You rolled around in the mud. You got stuck in mud
Right.
pits and sand pits. And now you don't get stuck in mud pits. You get stuck in front of the TV. And I think you're right. We put on TV these days, whether it be the news or regular programs or Netflix or Hulu, and it's very easy to get caught up in the negativity of society. And I love what you're doing here, which is pulling people out of that element and really reconnecting them with sort of our natural surroundings. I think it's incredible.
Not only that, when you take a look at something like deep sea fishing, it doesn't matter if it's a 5-pound cod or a 360-pound halibut. And where we're going to take them is a huge quantity of both. And I've seen kids on one end of a line with either one of those potentials on the other.
360 pounds.
Correct, 8 feet long.
I think I got to come out to Alaska.
You have to come up. But interestingly enough, what you said, Kyle, I was driving down the road the other day, Connecticut, secondary road, and there were toys out on lawns, but I didn't see one child outside. And we know where they are.
Mhm.
They're all inside. It's not healthy. And Michael Hawk became involved with this, not just to help build character and leadership skills and confidence, but in his own words, it's so important to get them outside and get them acquainted with nature, because that's the real world. That's where we live.
Totally agree.
That's where we should live.
Totally agree. Guys, you're all huge supporters of our military and law enforcement communities. I'm going to ask you very simply, go check out the website first of all. If you can, sign up to become members, but just as importantly, share this video. It's going to take you 2 seconds to hit share, and you could help impact the lives of some of our most valuable assets here in America, which are the men and women who support our communities and our country and their children. So, sir, thank you for coming on the show. We'll link up the website in the comments
Thank you very
below.
much for the opportunity.
No problem. Guys, thank you all for sharing, for taking part. God bless America.